Let's take a moment and talk about the tools you're going to use while in Graphic Principles 2. The physical tools that you're actually going to use. So starting with pencil and paper, okay? You remember these? No matter how much we're in the software, and you're going to be using the software a lot, I don't want you to skip out thinking, researching, and being creative away from the computer. The more you can think about your designs, the more you can think about the graphics that you want to create without just having to see it right there in front of you, the more creative you're going to be. So sketch every day. You don't have to be great at drawing. You don't have to be an amazing illustrator to be a great designer who can sketch. Okay? So whether it's a beautiful bound sketchbook that makes you feel creative or just some loose paper that you have laying around, use it. Okay? And then from there, let's talk about getting a mouse. Okay? You have your laptops, and these trackpads are kind of nice, right? They're very responsive and they work, but if you go into any major design studio, it's going to be hard to find anybody in Illustrator or in Photoshop designing like this, okay? I might do a quick little one-off graphic if I'm, on a bus or on a train or on a, traveling, but if I'm at home in my studio, I'm going to be using a mouse, okay? And the reason I'm using a mouse is because I can be more precise and I can be faster at what I'm doing. I can get pretty good at the trackpad, but again, I'm mostly using that when I'm in management mode, when I'm in Excel sheets or I'm trying to plan out an idea. When I'm working, when I'm using the pen tool, when I'm using brushes, I'm going to be either using a mouse or a drawing tablet, okay? And I would just start with the mouse. Don't worry about the drawing tablet yet. When it comes to a mouse, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can get them for $5, $10 and wired, and they work great. Whether you get a wired one or a wireless one or a Bluetooth or a gaming mouse, it doesn't really matter as long as it has at least 2 buttons and it's nice and smooth and easy to move around. Especially in Photoshop because you're going to be using the pen tool, and when you're trying to get precise, being able to just grab your mouse and quickly move from point to point to point really makes a difference. All right. Now from there, let's just wrap up and talk about backing up your work, okay? Because you'll always want to back up your work while you're in class or anytime you're doing any type of important project. If you have a client or if you're doing some freelance, you're going to want to constantly back up your work while that project is in process. So start with online, okay? There's so many great online services. In fact, as a part of your Microsoft account at Full Sail, you have a terabyte of storage space with OneDrive, okay? So use it. Sign up for OneDrive, create a OneDrive backup folder on your computer, and just work out of that folder. As you're working, your stuff will constantly be backed up to online. So if something happens to your computer, you're not going to get, so far behind in the class because you've lost your work. You can just jump to another computer or reformat and bring back those files and just keep working, okay? Now, you can't trust the cloud because, again, all computers fail at some point. So you want to have multiple backups. So you'll have it on your laptop, you'll have it on the cloud, and then some type of hard drive, some type of external hard drive. You can do a cheap but slow flash drive that's very portable, and these guys are pretty tough, so at least getting 32 gigs and keeping the final versions of your projects on there would be nice. You can get a bigger drive, like you can get 5 terabytes, 8 terabyte drives now, which is nice, and they're fairly cheap. Or you can get something a little bit speedier, like an SSD, where they're not quite as big. This one's like 500 gig, and that's like the sweet spot. But you're going to want to get some type of external backup, use the cloud storage, and on your laptop. And if you do all 3, then you should be safe. Okay, so get a mouse and have fun.